Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, I want to talk to you about the Luigi Mangione case. And what's interesting about what's going on now is they've changed their defense and they're using what's known as the EED defense, Extreme Emotional Disturbance defense. Now, we do not have this in Florida, but before I go over the actual instruction, and I'm going to put a link to both the article which talks about the change in defense strategy and also a link to the actual jury instruction. Let me give you some sort of backdrop to this. So here in Florida, we do not have the quote EED defense. However, what they're really trying to do is to get a jury not to convict him, obviously, of premeditated murder, but to convict him potentially of manslaughter, which obviously is a lesser offense and has a lesser sentence. So what's the difference between the two as a general rule? Well, murder, at least the first degree murder, is typically dealing with a situation where the murder's planned, right? For instance, husband finds out that his wife is having an affair with somebody else. He knows about it. And he has decided he's going to punish both his wife and the new lover. And he waits he leaves home in the morning to go to work, and then he lays sort of in waiting, right? He's sitting in his car down the street, watching on his binoculars, and as soon as the lover shows up, he takes a look at his watch. He figures it takes him 15 minutes to get going, and then he comes into the house, finds them both in bed, and shoots and kills the pair of them. Premeditated. He thought about it, he decided he was going to do it, and he planned it, and he did it. Premeditated murder. Okay, as opposed to, husband leaves for work in the morning, has no idea his wife is cheating on him, and gets 20 minutes on the way to work and says, "Oh my goodness, I forgot the file I need for this meeting I have coming up." Does a U-turn, turns around, goes home, goes into the house, and he finds his wife in bed with a lover. Pulls out a gun, shoots them both, dead. Okay, what's the difference? The difference is the lack of premeditation. It's that the heat of passion, right? As he walked in the house and went upstairs to get that file he'd forgotten, he finds his wife in bed with another guy, and he just completely flips out, loses it, pulls out a gun, and shoots them both dead. That's the difference, okay? And that's what Luigi Mangione's defense is trying to argue. Let me just read you this little piece of the jury instruction. If you find that the people have not proven beyond a reasonable doubt any of those elements, which are the elements of the premeditated murder, you must find the defendant not guilty of murder. On the other hand, if you find that the people have proven beyond a reasonable doubt each of these elements, you must consider an affirmative defense the defendant has raised. That defense, if proved, does not relieve the defendant of responsibility for the homicide, but under our law, it reduces the degree of the crime from murder to manslaughter. Under our law, it is an affirmative defense to a charge of murder that the defendant acted under the influence of extreme emotional disturbance, heat of passion, for which there was a reasonable explanation or excuse. The reasonableness of that explanation or excuse is to be determined from the viewpoint of a person in the defendant's situation under the circumstances as the defendant believed them to be. In other words, was he acting reasonably? So look, I think as a former prosecutor and defense lawyer, I think this is going to be a very difficult case for them to win based on that defense. But look, here's the beautiful thing about our jury system. You only need one juror to say, I'm not going to convict this guy. And that's a problem for the people, or the state as we call them in Florida. You only need one. If you're the prosecutor, you need everybody to be unanimous on the conviction, right? Either for murder or manslaughter. So I think this is an interesting issue. The problem is how do they argue this was a sort of heat of passion, right? Because it seems all the evidence seems to suggest that he planned this. It was premeditated. He went looking for this guy. He was ready to kill him, and that's what he did. So what's his argument going to be? Well, to be perfectly honest with you, my intention was not to kill this guy. I just wanted to have a conversation with him. Okay, but you know what? I saw him and I just lost it, and I pulled out my gun and I killed him. Well, the problem, I think that's a problem, right? I mean, if you take a gun to a fight to confront somebody, and you pull it out, there's a very strong argument that you were premeditated, right? And it's not reasonable. So interesting defense. I don't know why they switched gears, why they said, well, we're not going to argue some type of mental health issue. But maybe Luigi, he's the client and he's running the show over there. I don't know. I'm sure the lawyers will do the best they can, but I think he's going to get convicted, and I think he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life, and maybe he should. So anyway, that's the EED defense. That's the Luigi Mangione case. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this? Really, do you think there's a chance he's going to get off, or do you think there's a chance the jury will reduce the conviction from murder to manslaughter? Let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, as I always say, if you are a family out there and you're dealing with a loved one who's got a behavioral health issue, substance use, mental illness, and you're tired of the chaos and you want to have a conversation about what options might be available to you, let me know. I'd be interested to have a chat with you. My team may have some options for you. Also included in the description for this video is a link to our brand new book about the Marchman Act. And if you click on the link, you give us your name, your email address, you can download the book for free. We wrote it for you, so please download it. If there's an issue going on in your family and I've not made a video, let me know. Post in the comments. I'll make you that video. And if you like this content, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps with the Google algorithm. And if you want more of this content that I make every day for you, please subscribe to the channel. And with that said, thank you for tuning in. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.